Well, thank you, Rita, and thank you, Kevin. I'm Alex with Prosper Insurance. We are an independent agency that represents over 30 A-rated carriers. At Prosper, what we like to do is we like to guide and educate the client so that they can feel good about their insurance. I think that we can all agree that insurance can be a very confusing, overwhelming topic. And Prosper is here to educate the client again so they can feel good at the end of the day about their insurance. Also, we love supporting our partners. Kevin is one of our best partners, and I'm really excited to be able to sponsor today's class and hope you all enjoy it. Thank you.
I can give a shout out to Alex and her team at Prosper. I do refer my customers there regularly simply because I know that they will be responsive, they get things done quickly, and they provide great value to home buyers to help keep things more affordable, but also make sure that they are very well covered. And they are great to work with, very supportive. If as an agent you have any sort of programs, things that you want to do to help grow your business, Prosper is always there to help grow together. So I absolutely love working with Alex. She's awesome.
Thank you, Kevin.
I am super excited to be here today for another Wednesdays at War. We do this on a fairly regular basis. Once a month is what we have planned for Zoom meetings for the rest of the year. We'll talk about what's coming up next at the next Wednesday at War for September. But today we're going to talk about charisma. Charisma is 100% applicable to all of our businesses. We are all in sales. And it's not just about selling homes, or in my case, selling mortgages. It's also about selling ourselves, selling who we are. A great story I kind of wanted to start out with this morning was a story that I'm pretty good authority is true, that it's about Albert Einstein. We all know him, so this was many years ago. But as a professor, Albert Einstein passed around a test to his students. One of the students was reviewing the test and came up and said, "Hey, Professor Einstein, this is the same test you gave us last year. I've recognized all of these same questions." Professor Einstein came back and said, "Well, yes, it is the same questions as last year, but the answers are not the same. The answers are different." And that's what we face in the real estate business. The questions often stay the same. How do I get more business? How do I close more? How do I get more leads? How do I get more buyers or sellers? How do I represent myself better to a buyer, to a potential listing, to the world in general? We want people to know who we are. We want people to make a name we want to make a name for ourselves to other people. So we're all asking the same questions, but the answers have changed even more so now with COVID-19. How we market today and how we interact with people today is way different than we did a year ago. The message is still important. Our message may still be the same, but the delivery, how we do it, not only, whether it's a Zoom meeting or a recorded video or something else of that nature, the way we are delivering it is very different, but how we deliver it in those different types of media is also important. Social media is critical in our business these days, and social media is all about catching attention. So if you are boring, if you are not showing who you are on social media and videos and posts, you're not going to have the persuasive edge that we all want as salespeople. Persuasion research, in particular, the elaboration model of persuasion, you can Google it, talks about the different types of messaging. We have direct messaging. So that is the message I am trying to say. So I can say, "Hey, I want to sell you a house." "Hey, I want to sell your house." The indirect route is more what we're going to talk about today as your charisma edge. That's about your energy, the eye contact, the body language, smiling, getting your personality across, whether it's in person, whether it's online, on a video, no matter where it is. And this is absolutely important to connect with not only buyers and sellers, but even fellow agents. You know, when we are in this market where if a home gets listed and there's 4 offers the first day, guess what? You're selling that listing agent on accepting your offer, accepting your buyer. So making that connection is critical to all of our businesses. Why am I able to talk about this? Well, you know what? Selling mortgages, selling real estate, very similar. We're selling not only a product, but selling ourselves. I've had a lot of background in the public eye. If you don't know, I used to be an elected official. So becoming an elected official is all about campaigning, debates, selling yourself door to door. Then when you are elected, working with folks to try to get done what you want to get done in a positive fashion. But also it's something I do day to day in my business, whether it's on group meetings like this, teaching classes face-to-face with WAR, which I really miss. I love the in-person classes. This is the new normal. This is what we all are learning how to do, but also in working with customers, whether it's in person, whether it's over the phone, if it's on a video chat, no matter what it is. So today we're going to, let's move there we go. We're going to talk about several things. Number one, how to maximize this training. So maximize this training, we can really cover right now. Try to do your best to tune out all of the other chatter, all of the other noise that's going on this morning, maybe for an hour or so. Hey, I know how the business is. If you have to answer a phone, that's fine. We'll record it. You can always go back and rewatch later. But as Rita mentioned, everybody has a copy of the presentation. So you can print out, take notes as we go. And as we wrap up, I'm going to give you a lot of ways that you can get more training and development over and beyond the basics that we chat about today. We're going to talk about the psychology of charisma. What is it? Why do I need charisma? What are some of the myths? We'll talk about some of the charismatic presenters, and you all have an opportunity to give a couple examples of folks that you think are pretty cool and pretty charismatic presenters. We'll talk about anti-charismatic behaviors, some of the things that hold us back, and then really kind of the meat and potatoes of all this is strategies to improve your personal charisma. And really, you know, we're not talking about something that you don't have inside of you. We're just going to talk about taking what you were born with and helping other people see who you are and telling the story that you want to tell. So let's jump right into what is charisma. Let's define charisma quickly for the context of our class today. And here's some quotes. I think these go a long way in helping us understand what charisma is regarding being a salesperson, selling our business, selling ourselves. So the first one, charisma is the ability to attract attention and admiration from others. That's from Olivia Fox-Cavane. Charisma is the ability to make people like you. Who doesn't want that? We all want people to like us. And people do business with those that they know, like, and trust. So a lot of what we're talking about today is to get people to know you, to like you, and to trust you. When they know, like, and trust you, they're much more likely to choose you as their agent to represent them in buying their home or selling their home. Charisma is a spiritual power or personal quality that gives an individual influence or authority over a large number of people. Large numbers, that's a large group of people in our community. We want people to know about us. We want to be that real estate agent, that realtor that people know as the go-to when I'm ready to buy or sell my home, or just get information. What's my house worth? What should I do if I'm making home improvements? What adds the best value to my property? That's information that we want people to know, and we want people to know us in the largest numbers possible. Because when people know us in large numbers, guess what? That's a bigger database of leads, which we all want, of folks that can either use us or refer us. Next, charisma is a spiritual gift or power divinely conferred. It is a talent from God. If you believe in God, understand that God gave you this in your DNA. We all have it, or wherever you think it came from, it's inside of us. Sometimes we just have to chip away a little to truly bring it out. Like any other skill, this is going to be about practice. Charisma is the innate power to attract, engage, and influence others. How many of you want to attract attention from others? We all want that. We want the attention, we want the engagement and influence because it is our job to help folks purchase. We need to not only attract them to us, but keep them engaged, keep them thinking about us, and influence them to use us and influence others in the process. Influence our sellers to accept the PICRA, influence folks to move forward when they have hesitation. And today, it's hard to get someone's attention. And that attract part, it's not easy. There is so much noise out there. We have to be different. We have to be unique, and we have to be engaging to get that attention and to keep it. Then at that point, we can work on the influencing or persuading. And today's not going to be a public speaking class, where there's not really even a lot of opportunities for true public speaking nowadays. This is more of a communications class. Most of our sales time right now isn't public speaking. It's more over the phone. It's more video marketing. And we recently did a class on video marketing. It's posted at the WAR website, so you can go back and rewatch that if you want. We're doing more things face-to-face, one-on-one, nowadays a little less face-to-face, more virtual, phone, etc., as our one-on-one presentations. All of this is applicable to all of those, including Zoom meetings like today. A lot of realtors and mortgage people and folks in all industries are learning and living the Zoom meeting life. It was coming anyway. People are getting more and more virtual. The COVID-19 pandemic just made it all happen a lot faster. It accelerated adaptation of stuff that was coming anyway. So why charisma? Why is this important? I read a public speaking book way back when. It was all about communications and characteristics, etc. It was a great book. It was great info. But when the author, who I'm not going to mention, came to the area, I went to see him in person, and it just wasn't engaging at all. So this is somebody that's teaching public speaking, but just giving a really boring, dry presentation. Folks they just weren't buying it. They weren't just buying him. He wasn't coming across as who he was. He was providing the message. The message was great, but he wasn't truly delivering the message in a way that was being accepted. So our quote on the screen here, a charismatic speaker who makes mistakes will outsell a boring speaker who makes none. That is so true. People don't expect us to be perfect. Heck, on the last slide, I noticed an extra bullet point in the middle of a sentence that wasn't supposed to be there. Guess what? I'm sure you all didn't all just tune out of the class because I added an extra bullet point in my PowerPoint. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to be perfect in our speaking. We don't have to be perfect in our grammar. We don't even have to be perfect. We're supposed to be on our facts, but we certainly want to get things known as best as we can. That reminds me of a breakfast I did, I believe it was for a Kiwanis group, back when I was an elected official, and was talking all about James City County and all kinds of great information. And during the question and answer section, I had some very great questions, and I was given replies of facts and figures, etc. And then when I was done, our county administrator, Brian Hill, had been there, And he said, well, hey, Kevin, that was a great speech, but your fact here was off by 10%. This was not exactly correct. And he gave me like a list of 3 or 4 things that my answers weren't perfect, but they were pretty close. I was like, Brian, I killed this. Everybody loved it. They're not going to go back and like make notes and quote me on those exact figures and such. So yes, we all certainly do our best to be as accurate as possible. But at the end of the day, people will forgive mistakes. They'll forgive if we stumble on words. But connecting with folks makes all the difference in the world. So today we're going to talk more about how to unleash that within ourselves, how to unleash that connection. But first, let's talk about the myths. When we talk about charisma, a lot of you out there thinking, a lot of folks in general, default in their head to, no, that's not me. I don't have charisma. I don't have style. I'm just, boring old me. So many people buy into the myths. People believe the lies about charisma. The first one is a great example. Myth number 1. You are either born with charisma or you're not. You either have it or you don't. That's a complete lie. We are all born with the innate power of charisma. It's just about being ourselves and letting people see that, making a connection. And honestly, like any other skill, practice makes perfect. It is a skill that can be developed. Think about you with your family and friends, folks that you're comfortable with. They love you, I bet. I bet you're fun. I bet you're funny. I bet they get excited when you walk into the room. That is your natural charisma. That is what you want to come across in a public speaking setting, in a video, in a Zoom meeting. Learning it is about practice. It's about a skill like anything else. It's not something that you don't have within you. With me, I learned it kind of early on. It's part of public speaking, knowing people, connecting with folks. Back in high school, I would sign up for pretty much anything that sounded remotely interesting. I signed up for the senior class play once because there was a girl in the play that I liked. And so I was like, oh, I kind of want to get to know her. So I signed up for the senior class play, had no drama experience, had no nothing. So they just made me the understudy to the lead character. I was like, oh, that's cool. I get to hang out and don't have to really do anything. So that was all great for the first, 4 to 6 weeks of rehearsals. And then about 2 weeks before the play itself, the lead quit. He had something come up in his family. He's like, oh, I can't do this. I'm out. So then all of a sudden, I'm the lead in a senior high school play. I'm not even a senior yet, and I had no intention of doing any of that. But along that same line of thinking, along that same mindset, I heard about a thing called junior achievement, JA. I don't know if it's still a thing, but it was back in the day, high school kids would start their own business. They would make a product, they would sell it, they would have accounting, they'd have profitability, they'd sell stock to raise money, and then at the end, they'd give money back to their stockholders. And, I'm not too embarrassed to say it, but there was a girl that was doing it that I kind of liked, so I joined Junior Achievement and did the Junior Achievement thing. But at JA, they offered a free sponsorship to the Dale Carnegie course. So Dale Carnegie is the How to Win Friends and Influence People guy. So I was like, sure, if it's free, I'll go take it. That was exceptional. It helped me learn so much about public speaking, about human relations, dealing with people. I've used it my entire life. So if you haven't read Dale Carnegie's stuff, How to Win Friends, Influence People, etc., I highly recommend it. It's helped me become a leader, even as a young person in college, in business, politically. But my point in all of that is it's not something I was born with. It's something that was learned. It was something that was practiced, and we can all do that. Myth number 2, I need to be an attractive person to be charismatic. Absolutely false. Some folks think that if you look good on camera, that makes a difference. That's absolutely a myth. Doesn't matter how we look. It's about how we present ourselves. One of my favorite speakers, whether or not you're into his message, you can't argue he's a great speaker, is Joel Osteen. An amazing storyteller, but some people may or may not find him attractive. Sometimes I think he's just a little ridiculous in some of the things he does, but I love to listen to hear him talk. I also don't look at myself when I'm on video and such, because I don't like the way I look a lot of times. I'm like very self-critical, so don't worry about that. People aren't judging that. They're listening to you. They're listening to your message. They want to know and like you. Myth number 3, I need to be outgoing or extroverted to be charismatic. Absolutely not. That is another complete myth. In the news right now, Ellen DeGeneres, she is one of the most introverted people that you will ever meet, according to her and folks around her. She is not a people person, but the moment that camera comes on, or the moment she gets on stage, it's like a switch. She becomes the Ellen that you see. Fun, funny, charming, getting along with everyone. So you don't have to be that naturally to be that when someone's watching. I have a loan officer I've trained, also incredibly introverted, not a people person, but she excels with her online videos and meetings. She excels when she's in front of a client. And she's a millennial. So the moment that camera switches on, she's a different person because she knows how to perform in front of a camera. Young people have been doing it since they could hold a phone, when they were grabbing mom and dad's phone and making videos of themselves and watching it back and thinking it's hilarious. Myth number 4, being charismatic is not a part of my personality. Sure it is. That's just an excuse. It's a part of all of us. We are charismatic to all the folks that we know and love and care about. We're fun and funny. We connect. When it comes to outside of our comfort zone, then it's just a skill set. It's to be practiced and developed. It's something that you can work on, and there's lots of ways to develop it and get help. Myth number 5. I always have to be on to be charismatic. Absolutely not. You don't have to be on. Not everybody is on all the time. We all have downtime. We all have time where we just need to refocus. We need to, to get ourselves back where we are grounded. We take a walk. We meditate. We do some positive self-talk, some things to get us back in the right mindset. Myth number 6. If I improve my charisma, I feel like a fake person. So, a lot of us think that, hey, if I'm going online and trying to be charismatic and fun and funny, that's not really me. That I'll come off as fake. That's absolutely not the case. This is all about being authentic, being your authentic self. And when you're authentic, it's the most powerful thing. When we're being authentic about ourselves and our message, that is the tool that truly gets our message across. So we're not trying to be fake. We're trying to be our true authentic selves. And even if we're making mistakes, as far as perfect communication, the perfect persuasion skills, it's more about being authentic in what we cover and what we believe, not trying to sell something we don't believe in or communicate something we don't believe in, and that will come across in our message. That's what people really like. So I'm going to take a quick moment here and we'll do an exercise. So Rita, you can help me out with this. So I want everybody to think about 1 or 2 charismatic presenters, people that you like to watch, you think is really awesome, like, oh my gosh, they are great at communicating. They're funny. I love their messaging. It could be a celebrity. It could be a politician. It could be anyone that you can think of. Think about what some of their characteristics are. What makes them interesting to you? What causes them to be charismatic in your mindset? If you can, share it. So go in the little chat, put in some ideas, maybe a name, maybe why you think they're charismatic, and a comment or two. We'll go over some that I like on my list, but if you want to add some in, that's awesome. So I'll go over my list while you come up with a few on your own, and if it's duplicated, hey, that's awesome. And then I'll have Rita, she can read out any answers if anybody adds any. If not, then Rita's on the hook. She has to give me one or two from her that she likes and thinks is a great speaker.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and do that then, because I was just writing them down. One of them is he is in education, and his name is Daryl Davis, and I don't know if anybody's heard of him. I've heard him speak several times, and right now he hosts weekly talks for our for education providers for the associations, and he does it virtually ever since the COVID thing started. So I've heard him quite a bit, and the reason I like him is because, well, he's very knowledgeable. He's a good communicator. He seems to, even though he does stumble over his words a bit, he's funny and he can laugh at himself, and he truly likes people, and that really comes across. Another person is Mark Given, and we've had him here. It was a few years ago that we've had him speak to the war people 2 or 3 times, but he really, really cares. He's knowledgeable, but he really cares. And just that authenticity of who he is, and he's not scared to share who he is to his audience, that comes across, and I think that's very desirable in a speaker. So anyway, that's a couple of things. All right, we have a couple of people who have spoken, and Alex did say that Kevin, did you mean Kevin's authenticity or just authenticity is the most important? Yep.
Well, Kevin is definitely authentic.
Yes,
But I will definitely say authenticity is of utmost importance, because I feel like people can read through inauthenticity. So I think I personally am very attracted to people that are just themselves. And I really appreciate it. So
that's right.
That's a great point, Kevin.
Good. Yeah. And Brandon, thank you. He said Brian Buffini. And I think probably a lot of you know who he is. And Suzanne also said Brian is a perfect example. Do either one of you want to say why you think he is authentic or charismatic? No?
Oh, that's all good.
Brian, or Brandon rather?
Yeah. Really, he's just able to incorporate stories that everybody can relate to, and really, he'll say something in 6 or 10 words that just really hits.
Yeah.
But those of you that have listened to his podcast, there's no need to explain. But his tonality is probably a huge thing.
Very good. Thank you. Suzanne, you want to add anything? And Suzanne also said Mark Given and Zan Monroe. And I don't know Zan Monroe, so.
He's very Southern.
He's Southern. Well, so am I. So there you go.
but he's got a lot of charm and very interesting. And I was just naming people relating to real estate, and I'm having a brain freeze on our tech guy from Fredericksburg. Help me out with that one, Rita.
Yes, I remember. You had it will come to me. I'm so sorry. I cannot believe.
Yeah, I know. It's my brain is going
I
like
see
this.
him all the time on Facebook too, and it'll come to me. But you're right. He actually is a broker up in Fredericksburg, but he's a national speaker for NAR, and every time he gets up there, he's just great. He interacts very well. The thing is to interact with the people and relate to them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great example. You don't even remember his name, but you remember his message and you remember how he made you feel.
Yeah. Well,
and,
Kevin,
brain's going.
Mine's gone, I guess.
And it is still 10 a.m. Maybe coffee hasn't kicked in for all of us yet. But in all of these examples, it's people that are able to deliver the message of who they are, not just the message, but deliver who they are, show their warmth and caring. Oprah's a great example of that. One of the ones on my list. Some of her best skills as a presenter are demonstrating her warmth and caring. Steve Jobs, very different. He was showmanship. He was a visionary. He could get people excited about what's coming, the new, biggest, best thing. Tony Robbins, an expert in public speaking and human relations and, developing your confidence. And he does that by showing power and confidence when he is presenting. Michelle Obama, she is about smiling, caring, getting her caring message across to people. Joel Osteen, I mentioned before, as Brandon said, telling stories. Joel Osteen, again, whether you believe in what he says or, like his message itself, he is a great storyteller. He gets the message across by telling stories about his life, people he knows. So it becomes very real and very relatable. When we're going through all of this and learning and looking at these charismatic presenters, they're not getting on stage. They're not getting in front of people with the goal to be charismatic. Oprah isn't, okay, I want to go out and be charismatic today. Not at all. The charisma is who they are. They're showing it, and that's their tool to be persuasive. Their tool, in our case, for getting the sale. Tony Robbins is out to get the sale. He's being powerful, he's being confident, and he wants you to buy into his systems. And all people are different. There's different things in each of us, different traits that cause us to be charismatic. The ones that we all talked about, they're all very different people. They have all different characteristics, but we still like them. Something about them is real, something we gravitate to. So not any one thing is for everyone. This is about finding what's in yourself, honing those skills, and just being better able to connect with folks. Let's talk about some of the things we want to avoid. These are some stuff that can cause you to have less charisma, have less of a connection, and all of this is really just in our minds. People aren't prejudging us. As much as we may think they are, they're not. People want to connect. When you meet somebody new, you don't go into it thinking, I don't want to like this person, or let me figure out all that's wrong with this person. So a lot of it is our own fears. A lot of professionals in our business say, have a great listing presentation. They have great information to share, but they get caught up in the fear. They know if they got in front of 10 people thinking about selling their home, they have a lot of wonderful information. They have great marketing programs. They'll sell their house, but they just get caught up in the fear of actually doing it. Even more so on videos. I post videos, I send videos to customers. A lot of times, if I just need to send a quick message, I'll just put it on selfie mode, take a video, shoot it out to a client of an update of what's going on their file. On birthdays, I send birthday videos to every one of my past clients on their birthday. Just a quick, hey, it's Kevin Onizuk, your mortgage guy, just reaching out today to say happy birthday. And, send them a quick little message. It's just about doing it and having the confidence, not getting caught up in your self-doubt, not saying, ugh, I just hate doing that. Not saying, ugh, I don't look good. So-and-so does it better than I do. I hear all the time when I do classes, realtors will be like, oh, well, I mean, that was great, but I mean, I just don't look good on camera. I just don't feel good. You know, you're so much better than me. It's like, no, I'm not. All I do is hit the record button and just start talking to somebody like they were right there in front of me, and maybe throw a little bit of extra excitement into it. But you know what? For my birthday videos, I am excited it's their birthday. You know, it's a special day for them, and that's what you want to communicate. Don't be afraid to put yourselves out there. A lot of us too have a fear of judgment, fear that whoever's watching the video will be judging me. When I send a video to somebody, sometimes they'll send a message back, hey, that was awesome, that was hilarious. You know, before I sent it, I was like, I don't think that was my best work, but whatever. I got other stuff to do, so I'll go ahead and send it. Don't worry about what others are going to say, what others are going to think. Again, think about yourself. You're not generally going to judge somebody or something negatively, especially when they're sending you something positive. You want to connect with the people that you're meant to connect with. So be yourself. Send your video, send yourself, do your Zoom meeting, be yourself, and the people that you're meant to connect with will connect with you. You're not meant to list every home. You're not meant to work with every single buyer. You'll work with the ones that are a fit for you. The worst judgment, in my opinion, speaking of fear of judgment, is when somebody who is looking to buy a home, or heaven forbid, even worse, a realtor doesn't know I exist. That's the worst judgment to me. So I would rather put stuff out there, communicate, get the word out there of who I am, connect with the people that I'm meant to connect with, don't connect with the people that I'm not meant to connect with. I want people to know who I am, and if you're a fit for me, hey, come work with me. I'm your guy, I'm your person, I'll help you. And we all need to have that mindset. I look at, and we talk about this on our video marketing class, there's some folks that are really over the top on their videos. When we did the video marketing class last month, we showed a music video of a guy that recorded a country music song, but he rewrote the lyrics and did it all about buying and selling houses. It was hilarious. And some people would probably be like, that guy's ridiculous, I am never working with him. But there's gonna be a lot of people that are like, oh my gosh, I love that guy, he's my realtor. I've had that happen. For a while, I was sending out texts. I would have my real estate calculator and take a selfie in front of different things around town and places, and then send it out to agents with like a funny quote. So an example was I went to Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum, took a picture of me, my real estate calculator in front of the Believe It or Not Museum, and said, hey, believe it or not, rates are down to 3.5%, which that was pretty awesome then. Now people are like 3.5%, that's terrible. So it's all about mindset there too. But I got negative feedback from some folks. I even had another mortgage person call and say, Kevin, I really like you and respect you. I just want to let you know that, you know, I've heard some people like, you know, kind of making fun of you for your texts and things you've sent out. I was like, well, guess what? They're not my people. You know, the people that I'm meant to work with, I get tons of positive feedback, tons of people that say, oh my gosh, it's hilarious, love it, thanks for the reminder, etc. You know, those are my people. Those are my connections that I am meant to work with. So don't let the fear of someone else judging you remotely slow you down. Next, negative thoughts. That's really self-doubt. We talked about that. Self-doubt is, I don't sound good. I don't look good. I'm not confident. I'm not well-spoken. I sound too Southern. I sound too Northern. I have an accent, whatever it may be. One of the guys that I'll show you information on as a charisma and even public speaking coach for business people, he has a very heavy accent, but it does not slow him down. He said it did. He was very concerned, but then he basically just got over himself and was like, you know what? I'm just going to be me. I'm going to talk. And now he teaches others charisma, public speaking, etc. So if you have any type of limiting negative belief about yourself, understand it's not real and you have the power to change it. How do you do that? Read. I talked about Dale Carnegie. We talked about other stuff. Study. Get a coach if you have to, whether it's somebody you know, somebody to practice with, or a professional coach. Make the change in yourself. Get guidance. You absolutely have the power in you to make that change and have positive self-talk. I do coaching personally. I'm part of a group called the Freedom Club. It's for mortgage people, and it's all about coaching and business development and being your best you personally and professionally. And a lot of what they talk about is positive self-talk. The message you send to yourself on a regular basis is what you become. So you can go from being nervous and worried and paralyzed to a video making machine, whether it's Zoom classes, in-person videos, whatever it is, you absolutely have the capability to do it. And if you're self-critical, don't look at your stuff. I don't look at my stuff, because I'm self-critical more so than anybody else is going to be. So if I'm doing a class today like this, I will never go back and rewatch this because I will pick out all the stuff I did wrong. I will pick out all the little flubs and things that, I should have said this, I shouldn't have said that. So you know what? As far as I'm concerned, I'm giving it my best at this moment, and I'm not going to go back and second guess myself or think that I look fat. I put on my 19 for COVID-19, so the first most important step is to eliminate the fear and negative thoughts. Then we can go on to the strategies to improve our charisma. First step, preparation. We all know we have to do that, but it can be the most boring part. Preparation is boring, but most of us need it, even when we think we don't. We all know Al Pacino, amazing actor. In an interview, he once said that his favorite part of acting is the rehearsal. He loves the rehearsal so he can practice, he can adjust, he can become that character, talk about his inflection and how he's going to present himself as that character so that when he actually is performing, it's second nature and he's become who he wants to be, not just what the words say on the script. He enjoys the practice of preparing. He enjoys the process of practicing. Use your family. Sit your kids down, sit your spouse down, give the presentation to them, do a listing presentation to your spouse, do a listing presentation to your kids or your grandkids. Goodness knows, my kids can recite almost everything that I say on the phone with potential home buyers because I say basically the same thing all the time. So kids will know, they get it. You can sit them down and make them listen to your listing presentation or your video that you're about to post. Practice makes perfect. Picture that person when you are practicing that you are communicating with. Picture them in your head and communicate like you would with them. Do it when you're practicing. Do it when you're making your video. If you're talking to a customer on a video, talk to them like you would there as if they were in person. We're not doing as much in person right now, so making that connection electronically is even more important. I know personally I can come off a little stiff in some of my recorded videos. Like when I do like a market update or something of that nature, when I'm talking facts and figures and here's what's going on in the mortgage world, sometimes I feel I come off a little stiff. So I feel like my true personality doesn't come across when I'm doing recorded things versus in person. So that's something I work on. Sometimes I will record it more than once just to be like, I really was, I really sounded stiff and boring right then. I was like, delete, do it again. On my birthday videos, sometimes it takes me a few takes. I said that was dumb, delete, do it again. But you just keep doing it again.
Kevin?
Yes, ma'am.
I think you might have kind of just answered this, but do you record yourself when you practice? Do you make a habit of doing that?
That's really up to you as an individual. Me, no, because I don't like watching myself. So yeah, like I said, we talked about, negative thoughts. I think we're all very self-critical. Now, a lot of speech coaches, public speaking classes and things, they will record you and go over and review, etc. So if you do go on to get some coaching and help, then that's probably something that they will recommend. It's not something I really like to do. I more practice what I'm going to say and how I want to say it, but more importantly, just focus on the message that I want to get across. So sticking to that one message when I'm preparing, that helps me remember, hey, this is the point I want to get across. I want to be your mortgage guy. I want to list your house. I want to sell your house. I want you to understand the need for a pre-approval before going house shopping. Whatever it is, having that singular message. So while you're here, Rita, I can't see me, so I assume y'all can see me. This is an exercise that I'll do in in-person classes. It's kind of fun. So we'll do this virtually. We'll just kind of pretend. So if I have this bunch of pens and I want to throw them to Rita to catch, Rita, if I throw you this one pen right now, you can probably catch it. If I were to throw you these two pens right now, you might be able to catch two. Mm-hmm. But if I took this whole batch of pens, we'll just throw them off to the side there. Are you able to catch all of those?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of an example of sticking to one main message. When you're giving a presentation, when you're giving a talk, having charisma is getting a message across. We practice that. When we practice it, it'll come out in our presentation itself. When you stick to one main message, you're introducing a problem and giving a solution. Problem is, I have a house to sell, and maybe it has this challenge or whatever. Hey, guess what? Here's your solution. I'm your solution. Or introduce an opportunity. Your message may be an opportunity and how to capitalize on it. And then, most importantly, why you are the best person to handle that. You're the best person to give the solution, or you're the best person to help them with that opportunity. And when you're rehearsing, do it out loud, get pumped, be excited, just like that person is in front of you, or just like that camera is in front of you. Step 2, once we've done our preparation, taken notes, done our outlines, etc., when we start our class, we want to be present. We want to be in the moment, not checking our email, not doing 7 other things. When we're talking to that person, we're talking to them directly. When you're sitting with a client face-to-face during a listing meeting, we're probably not going to be on our phones checking emails. We're present, we're discussing, we're engaged with that person. In this business, we all know being engaged and present all the time can be a challenge. I bet everybody on this call has had a spouse, significant other, a kid complain about us checking our phone, taking calls in the middle of stuff, stepping out in the middle of stuff to take a call, deal with a problem. I just got back from vacation, just got back to work yesterday. I was out in the woods enjoying family time in Central Virginia. And guess what? I was checking my phone. I was answering some emails. I tried as best as I could. I would try to do it maybe for an hour in the morning, just kind of keep tabs on what I needed to and then move on. But in our business, it's easy to be not present. It's easy to be distracted. When we are presenting, we need to be in the moment. Don't have your email up. Don't have other things going on. But even as an audience member, it's easy to be distracted. Studies show that when someone is presenting in the audience, at least 30% or more of their minds are someplace else. Thinking about the family, thinking about the dog, thinking about your deal closing this week, whatever it may be. And virtually, it's probably even more so. So those of us on the Zoom meeting today, we probably have 8 other things going on, other screens open on our computer. We all do it. It's just, it's a matter of you have to be present if you want others to be present and engaged. And a couple techniques getting ready as part of your preparation. You can just stop and take a breath. Just breathe. Inhale for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds. So let's all do that together. Let's inhale and exhale. Gets us a little bit more present, a little bit more into a clear head. The toes exercise, real simple. Again, this is from a Harvard professor, a simple way to get present. They said, just close your eyes, move your toes around, wiggle them around for a few minutes, or even a few seconds, and open your eyes back up. So everybody just, let's close our eyes, wiggle our toes, think about our toes. If you think about that, you're not thinking about your deal closing Friday and 8 other things, you're thinking about those toes. So before you're recording your video, before you're giving a talk in person, before you're doing your listing appointment, just take a minute to do these couple things. Maybe shut off your phone, prepare to be present. And people will see that. People will see that you are present in the moment with them, not just talking to them while you're thinking about something else. Number 3, communicate with empathy. When we're communicating with someone, this is something that several of the great speakers that we went over are able to bring across, is their empathy. They ask questions. In our case, what is your biggest concern about buying a house? What's your biggest concern about selling your house? It helps you get into their mindset. We ask questions to learn their mindset, to learn their questions, to find out what their goals are. Then we can attack the problem. So if their concern is about selling their home and breaking even because they think they might be underwater and have to do repairs, etc., then when you've asked the questions, understand their concerns and have empathy for them, that's when you can connect. And charisma is about, as we said, being authentic and having a true connection. And have a routine. When you're getting ready to talk to somebody, what's in your mind? Mine is generally like certainty. I want to be confident. I want to know the message I want to get across, but I'm also certain that, hey, I've got a good deal for you and I'm good at what I do. Love. I love people. I love getting to know people. I love meeting new people. And if I meet someone new and we talk and hit it off for 5 minutes, guess what? They're my friend for life. I've never met a stranger. I love people. And every opportunity to meet someone is an opportunity to make a new best friend. And also empathy. We in the mortgage world are dealing with folks in a time that's really can be scary, especially first-time home buyers that have never done it before. It can be a scary process. Oh my gosh, am I going to get my mortgage approved? Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I don't even understand this process. So having empathy for what they're going through and addressing that is hugely important to giving them that connection with you. And you can do that over video. You can do it over FaceTime, and you can even do it on a pre-recorded video you put out on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you like to put your stuff. Number 4, don't just talk, express. So I can sit and read and say, the average presenter describes without feeling, the influencer feels before describing. Anybody can read. If we were just going to read, I would just send you this presentation and said, hey, good luck, and even sent you my notes. Because guess what? I did prepare. I did take notes. And then you could have just read it on your own. But no, we want to have a discussion. I want you to get a feel for who I am and get the message that I am trying to send. So when you're expressive, you're telling your feelings. You're telling the story of your feelings. And people often, if not usually, make decisions based on emotion. When you give a listing presentation, you can give your marketing strategies. You can give, here's what I think you're going to get for the house. Here's the process. Here's what I'm going to do to support you. But people are going to go with the person that they connect with on an emotional level, not just logical. And schools don't teach that. Your business school doesn't teach that. How to be not only logical, but also emotional and develop that connection. Love is, you know, we all have our spouses, our significant others, our kids, people who we love. Love isn't often about how much I love you, the other person, and I'm crazy about my wife. I love her dearly. Love often is how I feel when I'm with you. When I'm with my wife, I feel a sense of peace and happiness and joy. I'm with my person. I'm with the person I am meant to be with. And that is a huge connector. And that is what we want to try to get across. Maybe not quite to that extent in a listing appointment, but we want to create that personal connection. And being expressive about who we are is a huge part of that. Number 5, take a stand. Purpose is born from one's commitment to solve a problem. And guess what? That's our job, solve a problem. If this job was easy, Zillow would be doing it and cutting us out. They're trying, but guess what? They're not going to be successful. Internet lenders in my world would love to be problem solvers, but they're not. They're just churn and burn. If there's a problem, guess what? Things are not going to turn out well. I give a flyer, I guess, a 2-page thing, and I gave it out in one of the work classes about turbulence. So all my new customers, my prospects, it says something effective, hey, picture me as the pilot of your plane. As we're going through, we may hit some turbulence. That's just part of the process. But just as your pilot knows how to deal with turbulence in the air, I know how to deal with turbulence in buying a home and the mortgage process. And then the second page is 85 things that can be turbulence in the home purchase process. 85 things that can come up where you need a professional on your side. And now, of course, I'm handwriting in number 86, global pandemic, because guess what? Things are different now. And we as professionals need to know how to work differently. Let's see. Okay, yep. Let me hit real quick a study and then we'll move on. In taking a stand, there was a study called Generating Applause. It broke down hundreds of speeches. And it found that some particular speeches got about 8 times more applause than others. There are about 7 characteristics, and you can Google this, but one of the main characteristics that always hit home was people who took a stand. People who had a purpose, took a stand. This is how I feel. This is how I will solve this problem. You know, and that's what you hear politicians. We have a presidential election coming up. Elections in general are coming up. That's the message you're going to hear. I'm taking a stand for, and then whatever they're taking a stand for, no matter what your political beliefs are, you need to let folks know where you stand, and some will be with you and some won't, just like the elections. As a real estate professional, we can take a stand to be an advocate for our clients, our people, our friends and family, and we need to make sure they know what we are about. Being purposeful, having charisma, and getting ourselves across in our talks help them know what we're about. Number 6, communicate with power and confidence. We have a couple definitions of power and confidence on the screen here. You all can read those, but think about it. If you had the opportunity to have lunch next week with, say, the #1 real estate investor, #1 buyer of real estate in Virginia, or his or her assistant, which one would you pick? Or if you had the opportunity to have lunch with a powerful political leader, the president or the challenger, or their administrative assistant or executive secretary, who would you pick? I bet the assistant or executive secretary would have some great stories. It's my understanding that a long time White House executive secretary was there under several administrations, has retired and lives here in Williamsburg. And if you can get her talking, she has amazing stories, stuff that happened behind the scenes, stuff that you will never hear outside, never see in print. But while that may be fascinating, you want to be with the influencer. You want the power person. Yes, those other people are great and connect with them, but the decision maker is that real estate investor. If you win over the assistant, but not the real estate investor, guess what? You're not going to be their agent. But if you get lunch with them and convince them that, hey, I'm the best realtor in Virginia, I can take your real estate investing to the next level. I could do this, this, and this. That CEO, that power person, they're the one that can make things happen for you. So you want to give the message that I can make things happen for you. I have power. I have confidence. That's a great Tony Robbins skill. My message for today, my message isn't to sell anything today. Rita made that very clear that in all of this is for learning, not selling anything. But practice, my message today is about practicing, bringing out the best in yourself, being confident in yourself, and you can be amazing. The message is be yourself and show others that. And that is really all that charisma is about. Make it your own and believe in what you're saying. The last bullet point there, be aware of anything that takes the fluency of your message away. Fluency is how your message will be perceived and even the, order in which it'll be received. You want to, the previous bullet point, eliminate anything you don't believe in fully. I saw a speaker once that was pretty good, but not great. And it just didn't feel like they believed in everything. So I asked afterwards, I was like, so of everything you said, how much do you really believe in? He's like, oh, probably 80%. It's like, well, get rid of that other 20%. If you give the message of the 80% that you're passionate about, you believe in, you're going to be amazing. But with fluency, a great example, I don't know if anybody watches the show Bar Rescue with that guy John that goes into bars. I love the show. He just goes in, and it's bars that are struggling, failing. Usually they're dirty and disgusting. The owners are usually intoxicated half the time, and he just goes in and yells at them. But he really cares. He has empathy. He ends up being like a family counselor. He saves family. He saves businesses. Love the show. And I admit I cry on many of them. I'm easy to tear up on emotional stuff like that. But one of the coolest things he does, and this was one of the episodes, is how the menu is set up. So he'll look at a menu and he'll look at just how it's set up, the placement of where on the menu that item is. Not even about having pictures of the food or whatever, but where your eyes go on the menu. And then what they'll do is they'll take the highest profit items and put them strategically placed on the menu to go where your eyes go on the menu. It's amazing and brilliant, and something that they study and increases the profit margins because you're selling more of the higher profit items. Even if they aren't high dollar, they're high profit. So keeping your message where you want it to be is the fluency part of your charisma and communicating with your power and confidence. Number 7 is my favorite. Tell stories. I think Brandon mentioned this. I love a speaker who can tell stories to get their point across. That's why I mentioned Joel Osteen, not to get back to him, but telling stories of past successes and challenges. When you're in a listing appointment, tell some stories. Hey, this is a client I worked with a year ago, had similar concerns to you, had a similar situation. Tell the story of what happened, how you were able to guide them through, how you were able to fix their problems or issues, or just be there for them and how things turned out. And if they gave you a review on Zillow, pull it up, point it out. Hey, this is that person. They had the same concerns you did, and this was how they felt at the end. Storytelling increases the value of things. Here's a mug. It's an ALCOVA mug, but I'm not selling. So we'll just show the back of it. They did a thing on eBay where they just put up a plain old mug and put it up for auction. What's this worth? A couple bucks. They also put up another one and put a story behind it. It sold for like 40 bucks. America's Got Talent. If any of you watch America's Got Talent, it's back on. It's one of the only things that has like fresh episodes going on right now. But it's basically like a big nationwide talent show. And I laugh about it and joke about it, but the big thing is the intros. So the talent is important. So they go up and they do acrobatics or magic or whatever. But the big thing on America's Got Talent, especially at the first, half dozen episodes where they're just doing the initial reviews, it's about people telling their story. So they spend as much time with people telling their story about how they got here, the challenges they faced. I came from this challenged upbringing. I had these family challenges. I've had this medical issue my whole life that I'm struggling to overcome. Then they put them on stage and you have immediate connection, immediate empathy with them. Like, oh my gosh, after all they've been through, they were able to do this. They were able to learn how to, juggle this, do that. It's about the story, and people can connect. People can help understand the point that you're trying to make. And number 8, this will be our last one. We're on the home stretch. Pause. Pausing is not just an absence of words. It's also the presence of influence. Sometimes we all talk too much. We get excited. We're at a listing presentation. Oh my gosh, this house is awesome. I've got to list this house. I know I can sell this quick. I know I can sell it for a high dollar. And we just start going and going and going about, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Here's why I'm great. I'm your person. Let's do this. Take a minute to pause. Take a minute to pause when you're doing a Zoom meeting. It gives folks a moment for the message to sink in. So you don't have to be on every second. Make your point, and then just stop and wait for a moment. What's next? This is everything that I wanted to cover today. It's it's a lot of information to cover in an hour and a half. So we're certainly not teaching you everything you need to know. It's just really an overview, but there's a lot of great resources, some things that I really like. YouTube. You can Google and find anything on YouTube. We planted a garden this year, first time ever. Because of COVID-19, we were bored and happened to be a store and saw seeds. We're like, hey, let's do a garden. Honestly, it was a colossal failure. We probably spent, a few $100s on dirt and seeds and everything. I think maybe we got like 5 cucumbers. Carrots were a disaster. We had great lettuce, but rabbits came and ate all of it. So we really didn't get much out of it. But when things started to not go well, we hit YouTube. Google how to grow peas, how to grow cucumbers, how to grow whatever. YouTube has a lot of good stuff on charisma, public speaking, etc. A good one is Charisma on Command. So as you can see there, I just Googled present with charisma. A lot of the charisma with command stuff came up, and it's some really cool stuff. So there's an example of some of the things that they do, and they're short videos. You can even sign up with them for coaching and development. Towards the left is Influenceology. That's a guy named Roberto. He's the guy I mentioned who's got a fairly heavy accent, but his whole shtick is all about speaking with charisma and speaking to persuade. Whether that's one-on-one, face-to-face, whether it's in person, a video, a Zoom meeting, whatever, they help CEOs down to salespeople. You learn how to get more clients, speak with confidence, convert better. So he is focused on people like us. So specifically to help salespeople, to help real estate and mortgage people, to help us be more effective in our speaking and speak to get results. A book that I love, Mr. Schmooze, Selling Through Relationships. It talks about schmoozing, which that can have a negative connotation, but what he goes into is really the art and science of selling through relationships, creating that connection, making relationships. And for everybody that attended today, if you shoot me a text or email me your information, I'll send you one of those books. It's a really cool book. I think you'll love it. So text me your info, email me your info, and I will send you one of those books out with my compliments and thanks for attending today. To email me, it's KONIZUK@ALCOVA.com. That's for Kevin Onizuk. Kevin works just fine. KONIZUK@ALCOVA.com. ALCOVA is actually short for AL is Allegheny, CO County. VA is Virginia, so Allegheny County, Virginia. Our company is headquartered in Roanoke, so that's where they came up with the name. Or you can just text me, 757-645-8996. And I hope to see you all next time, which is Wednesday, September 23rd. We are doing time blocking. Learn how to control your day like the top 1% in real estate do. So we all do things every day. We all stay very busy every day, but are we staying busy doing the right things? There are things that I do every day that I know I'm getting very little return on my investment. There are things I do every day where I know this is where my money is. And it's easy to get caught up in the little things that aren't providing return. Spending that hour, 2 hours every day on the aspects of your business that are profitable and make you money, make a huge difference, and make you one of the top producers in real estate, because most people won't do these most important things, and it's almost impossible to do it unless you schedule it, unless you block the time. So that'll be next Wednesday, September 23rd. I hope you can join us then. Otherwise, thank you today. It's been great chatting with all of you. If you have any questions or anything, call me. If you want to practice something, send me your video, FaceTime me. Happy to do so. If you want to pretend I'm a home seller and do your listing appointment, happy to do that too. So Rita, thank you for having me. And if anybody has any final questions, they can do it now or reach out to me later.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions? Let's open it up. We have just a few minutes if you do.
And just remember, none of us are perfect. I'm not Mr. Charisma. I just do my best to try to let everybody know who I am and what I do and why I do it. And that's really the most important thing.
Kevin, I have a question. I'm curious. Have you hired a business coach before, or a coach yourself?
I have a coach, yes. I have an expensive coach.
Okay.
So I pay, I don't have any secrets I'll share. I pay probably, I think it's about $1,600 or $1,700 a month for my coach. My coach is a hugely successful mortgage guy in Florida that he takes on up to 5 coaching clients. That's it, because he has a business to run. He just does it to give back. And there's folks that I've coached, folks that are starting in the business, growing, developing. But I'm a huge believer in having a coach. Even if you think you are amazing, having a coach just makes you more amazing. It keeps you more focused on the things that you need to be more focused on. Like I said, focusing on the parts of your business that have the best return. A good coach will keep you positive. A good coach will basically help you find the best parts of you by having someone else, a third party, step back and look and analyze through a lens that's not your own. So yes, I believe in coaches. I have a coach and I absolutely love it. And the coaching program I'm in, this is actually my second coach. I switched. So I was with my first coach for like a year or so. I was like, okay, I think I've gotten everything there is to get out of that one. And I moved on to another one. And I moved on to the other one maybe about 3 months ago. And it's a whole different experience and I love it.
Good
Okay,
question.
I'm going to reach out to you privately, Kevin. I was just curious to know, because I know that you're doing very, very well there at ALCOVA, and the knowledge that you impart, you know, during these classes, it's phenomenal, and it's very appreciated. So I'll reach out to you privately. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Suzanne.
Oh, I was just going to say, you're right about trying to be relatable and things, because, for instance, if I'm doing a listing presentation and ask them if they want to have a home warranty, they'll say, oh, absolutely not. I don't need that. And all I have to do is relate a couple stories. You know, like I had a neighbor who absolutely said, no, I don't need that. And his wife said, listen to her. She's the professional. The next morning, he sheepishly calls me and says, does that thing cover dryers? And I tell that story and people immediately say, oh, I see now I understand why it helps. They don't think about their water heater breaking while the house is on the market. They don't think about something crapping out, as I put it. But once they hear a story they can relate to, it makes sense. So making things relatable really is very important.
Yeah, that's awesome, Suzanne. Another great one for that is title insurance. Why do I need owner's title insurance? Well, you probably won't, but if you do, the problems are really expensive to fix. Here's an example.
Right. Anytime you can give a valid example regarding title insurance, I say, you probably listen to the radio when you're driving and they have all these ads about title fraud. Well, you know, you can pay those people big bucks, or you can pay this, you can get the title insurance right up front and protect yourself. It's the cheapest insurance you can buy to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you buy it one time and it's for the entire time you own the home.
Right.
Now, as a realtor, there are specific times when you have these presentations. One is a listing presentation that you have to prepare for. And it's great to have those kinds of stories and things already in your mind, or you should already think of questions that they would ask, because they are pretty much all the same. I mean, you get some different ones for different people, but don't you get a lot of the same questions asked time and time and time again? And so it is something that you can really prepare for, like Kevin was talking about through this, and go over and practice how you say things, what you say. So you've got your listing presentation, you've got your buyers. Do you have a presentation for that, for buyer, to represent buyers? Am I right, Suzanne?
No, if they call me and
not really for buyers. I mean, but you don't sit down when they sign the buyer representation thing and talk to them.
Yeah, well, yes. You do have to, you know, sit down.
Yeah, so you have to.
And you also tell them the process. You know, it's important. Right. I find, regardless of listing or selling, to explain the process so that they understand what the steps are that are going to be coming.
Right, and then when you get the listing, to go over just the paperwork involved, or when you get a contract, to be able to go over that. So there's so many things that as a realtor you're going over. And these are the things that you can practice, and with, I think it would be great, especially if you practice with someone that has been in the business a little bit longer, because they would know that the questions that get asked time and time again, and maybe be able to give you those kinds of stories to tell as a new realtor, because I know that a few of these people that are in the class are new realtors, and they may not have the stories that you already have. And so it'd be great for them to be able to sit down and get some stories to be able to tell.
And one of the things, because I do mentor new agents and train in my office, I always tell the people to pay attention to read the contract. And if there's something you don't understand, ask somebody. Don't just say it's all legalese, it's done by lawyers, and it's, you know, just block it here. I found a seasoned agent who for years had been giving incorrect information. We were sitting together and he quoted that $1,000 or limit for repairs. And he said, that's all you have to pay on a home inspection. So don't worry about it. It has nothing to do with the home inspection. Septic, so he was like, his jaw dropped. He said, all these years I've misunderstood that. And I thought, yeah. So if you have any questions and you're not sure, paragraph 16, it's kind of fun when somebody asks you a question and you say, well, in paragraph 9, you'll notice it says, boy, do they think you're an expert.
Well, I really appreciate all the new realtors that take these classes, Kevin, because you do give out such good information, and just that one section on practicing, because I remember as a realtor practicing everything that I said, and I needed to know why I was going to say it and the kinds of questions that might come up, and it just makes such a difference. So I think this information is really good. So thank you, new agents, for taking classes like this, and I hope it really helps.
Yeah. And to Suzanne's point, not just new agents,
Right.
things that
Sure.
we might be doing wrong. So I know through WAR, John Wilson gives classes on purchase contracts, where he
And that's
just
always
goes
fun.
through the nuances of the purchase contract. That guy knows purchase contracts. So as an experienced agent, you may think you know, but you know what? You may not know everything, or things have changed. Even if the wording doesn't change, sometimes the interpretation and the implementation changes. So doing classes with WAR, with Rita, whether it's marketing and business development and some of the things that I'm doing, or the core classes of information, even if it's not required for CE credits, there's a lot of really good information that WAR puts out. So I've been to a lot of the classes, and even I'm not a realtor, but I have learned so much that I'm completely impressed by the classes that WAR does.
Even if it's on Zoom through WAR, because what you have is your colleagues. You get to know them. You get to hear examples of what they've been doing. It's fascinating to hear things that happen, because it might not have happened to you yet, but then it's on your radar and you understand how somebody else did it. Doing classes that are just computer classes online. I'm a huge proponent of going to WAR for your classes. Or, if you have to go to a place, but go somewhere where you're interacting with the other students. Because you learn as much from them as you do from the presenter.
Any other questions for Kevin or a comment?
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you all for joining. Remember, if you want a copy of the book, I would love to send it to you. Just text me or email me, and I'll send it out. And it looks like there's a party going on at Tom McConnell's house.
Yeah,
I know.
He's got his solo cup out.
I like that. We'll be right over, Tom.
Going on, so.
There he is.
All righty.
Thanks, Rita. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Thank you. See you next time.